Hello everyone, welcome back to our SolidWorks course. In this new video, we will be taking an exercise. Hello everyone, welcome back to our SolidWorks course. In this new video, we will be taking an exercise problem. Now that you have learned so many sketch entities and sketch relations, you might be excited to get started with your first 2D sketch. So we will not waste any time and move to SolidWorks and begin with sketching. You can see over here that this is the final sketch that we would be generating in this exercise. We would be defining it using the dimensions, and also we will be learning some new concepts and how those will help in order to create efficient sketches. So let's get started with sketching. First, we will create a new part by pressing Ctrl N on the keyboard and double clicking on the part over here. Once we are into the new part, what we will do is that we will select our sketch plane. Let's say we want to sketch on the front plane. I will click on the front plane and then click on the sketch icon over here. Now that we are into the sketch mode, we will start with sketching. First, the first step here would be to create a center line, as we would be using the mirror command in order to create this sketch. We will go to the lines drop down menu and select center line. From the center, that is our origin, I will create a center line, something like this. I will end this line by double clicking on the screen, and now I will move our sketch towards the left so that it is a bit clear and there is no overlapping. Now what we will do is that we will get into the solid line command and begin our sketching. We will create a rough profile that is the half profile of the sketch which we saw before. What we will do is that we will draw a line vertically upwards from the origin. You can see here that the yellow symbol is being shown beside the pencil, indicating that this is a vertical line. We will create a sketch using these automatic sketch relations by clicking on the screen as we want our lines to be seen. Here you can see that I have created the half of our sketch using the line command. I will end the line over here. Now we will be learning about dimensions and how do we use dimensions in order to create or in order to define our sketches. If we go to the drop down of dimensions over here, we can see that these are all the options that we have in order to define or in order to give dimensions to our sketch. The first one is smart dimensions. Smart dimension is nothing but giving the dimensions according to the entities that we've selected. SolidWorks has a very smart interface which detects what kind of dimensions would be required for the entities that we select. For example, if we select this line, it will automatically detect that it is a horizontal dimension. It pops up a modify tab over here which allows us to enter the value. Let's say I want this line to be of 50 millimeters. Now if I select this line, it automatically knows that it is a vertical dimension, and if we click on the screen, again we have the modify tab over here which will allow us to enter a value. Let's say 20 millimeters. Now I am not giving dimensions according to the sketch that we saw before. What I will do is that first I will explain to you how do we use all these types of dimensions. Here we can see that below smart dimensions we have horizontal dimension. If we select horizontal dimension, it will only select the horizontal dimensions or the horizontal lines that require dimension. For example, this one. If I give it a value of, let's say, 40 millimeters, it will take it. Now for example, if I select this line, you can see that it does not provide a dimension for this line as it is a vertical line. For that, we will have to select the vertical dimension from here. Now if I want to give a vertical dimension to, let's say, this line over here, I simply select the line and click on the screen to give it the dimension. Let's say I want this line to be of 70 millimeters. Here you can see that 70 millimeters dimension has been given to this line. If I select any horizontal line, it won't be assigning any dimensions as we are only in the vertical dimension command. You can see beside the arrow it is showing a vertical dimension. If I go and select the horizontal dimension, you can see that beside the arrow, it is showing you that you are in the horizontal dimension command. Next, we have baseline dimensions command. We will select baseline dimension, but in order to show that, I will first delete these dimensions. In order to delete the dimensions, what you will do is that you will simply click on them and press the delete key. Again, click on them and press the delete key, and we will do the same for this one. Now, what is a baseline dimension? As the name says, the dimensions would be given from the baseline. Let's say we select the baseline first. We want this as our baseline. I select this and then select this line. So we can see here that the dimension from this line has been automatically added. Again, I don't need to select this line. Now I will simply select the next line and another dimension has been added. If I select this line, another dimension has been added from this baseline that we selected previously. If I select this last line, another dimension has been added from the baseline respectively. Again, you can also give baseline dimensions in a vertical way. Let's say I will select the center line as my baseline and then select this line. It has moved to the angle dimension. We don't want it. What we will do is that we will delete it first. We don't want to delete the center line, so we will press Ctrl Z. Now we can see over here that it has escaped the dimensions command. Again, we will go to baseline dimensions and I will select this line. Next, I will select this line. You can see that a dimension has been added. Now, this kind of dimension is known as a diametrical dimension. I will explain it to you what it is as we move forward. But again, if I select this line, you can see that another line or another dimension has been added in the vertical sense. If I select this line, there's another dimension. If I select this line, there's another dimension. But all these dimensions have been specified from the center line. Because we selected the center line as a dimension, it is adding diametrical dimensions. What are diametrical dimensions? I will explain it to you in a bit. First, I will delete all of these and explain you what are our next dimension types. Again, I will select these and keep deleting them. Before that, you can see that there is a small d marked beside our arrow. It shows that we are into the diametrical dimensions. If I press the escape key, you can see that the d disappeared, showing that now we are into the normal mode. If I select all these over here and delete them, I will simply select all of these again and delete them using the delete key. Now again, I will delete all these dimensions as well. Here we can see that there are none of the dimensions as of now. Before we move to completing a sketch, I will show you what are the sketch settings that you need to keep active. But before that, let's complete our dimensions. Let's move ahead and take a look at the next type of dimensions that we can assign. Here we can see that there is a chain dimension. What chain dimension does is that it helps us to give dimensions to a chain. Let's say like this. You can see here that a dimension is being added according to the chain. It is being added at every step. We can see over here. What is a chain dimension? Chain dimension means that this dimension is dependent on the previous one and this dimension is dependent on the previous two. In order to get the dimension for this line, you have to add these two in this one. How and where we will use this, we will take a look as we move forward through the course. Next we have the ordinate dimensions. Now ordinate dimensions, as the name suggests, is the dimensions that is given to the sketch on ordinates. I will show you how. Let's say we will set this one as 0. This one would be the first dimension. You can see that the dimension has been mentioned according to the ordinates. Like this is 0 and this line is at 50 millimeters from this end, that is our baseline or 0. If I select this one, the dimension from this line has been added, which is 99.69. Next, if I select this line, you can see that another dimension has been added. This dimension shows that this line is at a distance of 139.69 millimeters from this baseline in a horizontal direction. If I select the last line over here, this also adds an ordinate dimension. Ordinate dimensions also could be added in a horizontal way. Let's say I select this line, center line, as my first ordinate dimension. Ordinate dimensions also can be given vertically. Let's say I want this to be my 0 or the first line or the reference line. Next, I will select this line which is vertically upwards from the center line. It shows that this line is at 21.07 millimeters from the baseline or the center line. If I select this one, it adds another dimension. If I select this one, it adds another dimension. If I select the last one, it adds yet another dimension. You can see here that these dimensions have been defined from this 0 point over here that we specify at the very first. If I want to edit any of these, what I will do is that I will simply click on these and enter the value that I want. Let's say 25 for this one. You can see that it has moved. Now let's say I want this one to be 60 millimeters. I will simply click on it, enter the value and press enter. You can see that these dimensions can be changed on the fly. Next here, we have horizontal ordinate dimensions and vertical ordinate dimensions. It works in a similar way as we had horizontal dimensions and vertical dimensions. They only capture dimensions in a single line, either horizontally or vertically. Next in line, we have the path length dimension. Let's say I have a close sketch over here. For example, we draw a rectangle. Now the sides of the rectangle have already been selected. If I go to the drop down and select path length dimension, it will select all the sides of the rectangle by itself as we were already in the selection mode. Now if I click on OK, you can see that it shows the path length over here. What the path length means is that it is the addition of all these sides of the rectangle. Now this is helpful if you want to find out the addition of the length of all these sides. Now let's get back to our exercise. We will box select this and delete it. You can see that first the dimension was deleted. Again, if we box select it and delete all of it one by one, you can see that we've deleted using the box selection filter. Now we will get back to our exercise, but before we start with it, I want to show you some settings that will help you to create the sketches in an efficient way and use all the previous functions that we've learned in the previous video and in this one itself. First, I want to show you something. Let's say this is the value which says 195.28. If I double click on it and try to modify it, let's say I put up the value as 150. You can see that as soon as I entered the value, it changed the sketch from 190 something to 115 millimeters. This was done very instantly. Now what I will do is that I will show you some sketch settings. If we go to tools and sketch settings, you can see over here that we have these three enabled. That is, we have ticked these three. Now we have three of these. I will explain it to you one by one. We saw here that as we entered our value, the change was made instantly. Now if I disable auto solve and try to change this back to 190 millimeters, you can see here that the value has been entered, but it has not been switched from 150 to 190 immediately. In order to do this, I will have to press Ctrl Q on my keyboard to rebuild my sketch. Again, it has also exited the sketch. Again, we'll click on it and go to edit sketch. Here we can see now that we've rebuilt a sketch, it is moved from 150 to 190 again. It won't happen again instantly if I enter 150 again. It is yet at the 190 mark. So that's why it is very important that from the sketch settings you make sure that automatic solve is on. You can see as soon as we clicked on the automatic solve, it again snapped back to 150. Now the next function over here in the sketch settings is automatic relations. Now you've learned about automatic relations in the previous video. If you keep this off and try to draw a line, let's say I try to draw a vertical line, you can see here that the sketch relation won't show. Now from this tab over here, if you disable sketch relation, now from this tab over here, if you disable automatic sketch relations or automatic relations as said over here, you can see that the sketch relations won't be added. Let's say if I draw a line which is, vertical, you saw that the symbol shown here was not yellow in color as shown previously. And if I end the line over here by pressing escape and click on this line over here, you can see there is no existing relation. This line has no relation yet. But if I again switch it on from here, go to sketch setting, click on automatic relations and select it. Now if I draw a line, let's say this one, you can see that the symbol beside the pencil is a yellow one. And now if I end it over here and end the line over here right itself and again click on the line, you can see here that the automatic relation was added, which didn't happen over here. You can see that there is no relation over here, but a relation was added over here because we saw that yellow symbol over here, which suggested that a strong relation would be added. Next sketch setting in the line is the enable snapping. Now before showing this, I will show you how the snapping works. You can see here, as soon as I move my cursor on this point, you can see this point turns orange, showing that my point has been snapped or it has been selected as the start point, or you can use this as your start point. Now if I go to tools, sketch settings and disable enable snapping, you can see here, even if I move my cursor over the point or the vertex, it won't turn orange. Or in order to put it out simply, you can say that it is not allowing me to snap my line or start my line from this point. So you have to make sure that these three settings are always on. Now that I've turned it on again, you can see that again my point has been snapped and I can draw my line from here. These three things are very important in order to help you sketch efficiently and in order to help you sketch easily. Now I will escape the line command by pressing escape. I will delete all these lines as I don't need them anymore. I will delete it, and now we will get back to our exercise. In this exercise, we will give all the dimensions that we are required to give. First, I will delete all of these by selecting them and deleting them one by one. I select these, delete them, select these again and delete them pressing the delete key. Now here we can see that we have a sketch which is not defined. Here you can notice that there is a symbol or there is an indication telling you that your sketch is not defined. This is known as your sketch status. You always have to aim towards making your sketch fully defined. How we will do that? Let's take a look. Now we will give this dimensions according to our reference sketch. For that, I will take you back to the reference sketch over here. These are the dimensions that we would be requiring. The length of this line over here is 100 millimeters. The distance between these two lines is 70 millimeters, 50 millimeters for these two lines, 30 millimeters for these two lines. And the distance of these lines over here are 50 millimeters, 40 millimeters, 30 millimeters and 20 millimeters respectively. Let's get back to our sketch over here. Now I will get into the smart dimensions. You can get into the smart dimensions by simply clicking over here, or what you can do is that press the escape key first and then click your right mouse key and drag your cursor top. Click your right mouse key and move your cursor upwards. You can see that we've entered smart dimension as the symbol appears beside the arrow. Another way of doing this is I will show you by pressing the S key. First I will press the escape key and exit smart dimensions. I will press the S key and here we can see that we have an option to get into smart dimensions very quickly. First I will add dimensions for these lines. Now I told you about diametrical dimensions before. What are diametrical dimensions? Now here if I want to give this dimension from the center line, you can see this will act as a radial dimension. Let's say 50. This is also fine. You can see besides besides our symbol of smart dimensions, you can see there is a R, denoting that it would be adding radial dimensions. If I again select this line, you can see that again it has selected the center line as the reference and creating dimensions accordingly. Now if I want to add diametrical relations, what I will do is that first I will delete these and again select these two lines, but I will do it in a different way. I will select this line first and then select my center line. In order to get out of the radial dimension, I will have to press escape. Now again I will get back into the smart dimensions by using the right mouse key. I will select this line, I will select the center line and slightly move my cursor across the center line. You can see that now it has added a diametrical relation. You can see it is asking me to enter the value that I want. I say 100 and enter it. You can see that now it is giving the dimension of the complete sketch that would be taking place, that would be generated after we create a mirror of the sketch about this line. Next, you can see here that there is a dimension beside the smart dimension feature beside the arrow, showing that now you are into the diametrical relations. Diametrical dimensions command. Again, if you select this line, it will give you an option to enter the diametrical dimension, let's say 70. If I select this line, it has already selected the center line as its reference and is giving dimensions from the center line itself. Let's say I will enter 50 here. I will first click it on the screen to assign the dimension and then enter 50 when it asks me to. Now you can see here that it has taken a radial dimension by mistake, and as it is shown by an R beside the arrow, I will press Ctrl Z and delete this relation first. Again, I will get into smart dimensions, select this line, select the center line again and slightly move my cursor across the center line. I will click on the screen and enter 50 in the modify tab. Now it has taken 50 as my diametrical relation. Next, we want this to be 30 millimeters. Again, now you can see that once you give a diametrical relation, it is in the same mode itself. I will click on the screen and enter 30. You can see that we have given the vertical dimensions. Now we will give the horizontal dimensions. Here we know that this line is 50 millimeters. Now you can see that I have not exited the diametrical mode. That's why it is again selecting this line and selecting the center line as a reference. I will press escape. Again I will press escape, and now you can see that the D beside the smart dimensions icon or the dimensions icon has disappeared. Now if I select this line, it will give me a horizontal dimension for the line itself. I want this to be 50 itself. The next line, I want this to be 40. I will again click on the screen and enter 40. I will select this line, place it on the screen and enter 30. I will select the last one, click on the screen and place and enter 20. Now you can see that a sketch has been created. We will first arrange our dimensions so that you can see it properly in this way. Now you can see that we have arranged all our dimensions. The only thing left over here is to mirror our sketch. What we will do is that we will first get into the mirror command. Now we will select all these entities using our box select, dragging our mouse cursor from bottom to the top without leaving it. Once we leave it, we can see that all our sketch entities have been added. The sketch entities that are in blue have been added to the entities to mirror tab. Now I have not moved my mouse yet. I will simply right click and you can see it has switched from this space to this one over here. Here I will select the center line about which I want my mirror to take place. I will click on it and without moving my mouse, I will again right click in order to complete my mirror. You can see here that my sketch has been generated. Now if I want to assign this, if I want to define this center line completely as well, I will drag it and you can see that an inference line is being generated. It is asking till which point I want my line to end. I will simply drag it and coincide it on the last line. You can see that the coincident symbol is shown in yellow, showing that if I leave the cursor over here, a dimension would be a relation would be added here. If I leave the cursor, you can see that there is a coincident relation that has been added. Now you can see again, look over here, that our sketch status has been changed from underdefined to fully defined, and all the entities that were in blue before have turned black now, denoting that our sketch is completely defined now. You always want to have your sketch completely defined so that it does not cause any problems while you are modeling your 3D components. With this example itself, I will show you what is an overdefined sketch. I will get back into the Smart Dimensions tab, select this line and give it a distance from the center line. It is 50 now. Now this dimension is grayed out because it is a driven dimension and not a driving dimension. Driving dimensions are always in black and driven dimensions are grayed out. Driving dimensions are the one that define your sketch, while driven dimensions are one that have been generated due to your driving dimensions. Now if I try to convert this driven dimension into the driving one by using the right click, by selecting this and right clicking on it, I will have to first exit the Smart Dimensions command by pressing escape. Now if I right click on it, you can see here that driven is been ticked. If I untick driven, you can see that this dimension has been converted to a driving one, and you can see that some of the sketch entities and dimensions have turned yellow. This shows that all these dimensions are conflicting and over-defining your geometry. Again, you can see over here that it shows an over-defined geometry. In order to resolve this problem, you can simply delete this dimension or this dimension. Any one of it works, as we have assigned the same dimension to the same line twice, and we have made both of them the driving dimension, so the software cannot resolve it. What we will do is that we will select it and delete it. Once we have deleted this, you can see that a sketch is again fully defined. It also showed over here that your sketch is no longer over defined. This is what we want, what the status of a sketch to be always. I hope all the features and functions and techniques taught to you in this exercise were clear and you've understood all of them. I hope you practice all of these, and I will see you in the next one.